What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on Lucid. Lucid hasn't had this epic of a day since, I believe, that rumor about the PIF taking them private back in January of 2023. So Lucid, amazing day. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out about Lucid, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So today it did close 14.48% in the green. 531 was the high, 456 was the low. That's an understatement, insane amount of volume. So 91.68 million shares were traded, 32.05 is the average. These are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market over $100,000. You do see some pretty big ones after hours, so 5.14, 2.57 million, 1 million, 1. There was a pretty substantial one near the tail end of the day, so 23.2 million, and it still goes on and on. So this was a very big outlier compared to previous days. Officially, there was no news, no SEC filings, nothing like that. Unofficially, there was a couple of things that did come out. So one of which was this. So technically, Lucid Group expands operations in Saudi Arabia with a focus on local workforce development. And so in here, ultimately, it says that Faisal Sultan's trying to take, I guess, baby steps through the training process, which based on the last news that came out, I believe it was yesterday, about how AMP2 has already completed 800 vehicles, and they did that relatively slow, if you call it that way, and they did that in a fashion where they're training individuals. So it kind of reiterates that, which is a fairly good thing, but it also talks on about the MOU that they do have where they're going to be training individuals. And it looks like Sultan did post this, so it's about 30 seconds. I'll just quickly play this for you, and then that way, once again, it kind of reiterates exactly what he's about the MOU, like I said.
Agreement with one of which is, for example, I'll give you a couple of examples, the training support program, where we subsidize the training based on the different market requirements. We have extended our training subsidy program even overseas. For example, we have engaged in an agreement with Lucid Motors to train and employ 1,000 Saudis over the next few years, of which some will attend their training in Arizona. One of which.
So yeah, pretty cool stuff, if you ask me. So this is just the start of something very, very big. And also, I tried to find some documentation. I think it was more of a random article. Several in the past, in fact, over the last 6 months have stated that Lucid is going to be going on to the Saudi stock market, which I've tried to find some updates on that. There's been absolutely nothing, but I do realistically feel that will be coming early 2024, and that'll give Lucid a nice bump up as far as liquidity. So that might be coming down the pipeline as well. And then this was also posted on Twitter, and this is kind of just the viewpoint of the PIF and every interaction of that. And once again, not to jump to too much speculation, but I do feel that there is a lot of licensing agreements coming down the pipeline for Lucid, aside from just Aston Martin. Because if you think about it, it could be Sierra, it could be Hyundai, it could be even Polestar, which would be absolutely epic. But still, there's a lot of opportunity for Lucid to kind of make some good revenue through their licensing agreement. Or Sherry kind of said during the last earnings, even though she's gone now, she did say that they're going to be looking at, I guess, outside of this to a lot of the bigger players, the OEMs. So who knows, there might be a lot of big things coming in 2024. So in my opinion, I feel like this article and the optimism around the AMP2 facility and the piggybacking momentum from what the Fed said yesterday, that is what caused Lucid to go up as high as it did. But oddly enough, there's a lot of people that did not believe that it was justified, and that was shorts. I've been bringing up shorts obviously quite significantly over the last couple of videos because they have been playing a very dangerous game, but they are doubling down. So today they increased to 5.34 million shares today. Insane. So 29.4% of the free float is being shorted. 260.31 million shares overall are being shorted, and cost to borrow average is a little bit lower in comparison comparison to yesterday, so 16.88%. Through the Interactive Broker short availability, you can kind of see that they are running out of ammunition because it only shows around 4,000 shares available to be shorted right now. So once again, they really doubled down on Lucid today. I don't know if that's an indication of what might be coming tomorrow, maybe a little bit more of a pullback. Once I go over the technicals, I'll break that down for you ultimately. But looking at options, $4.84 million in calls being purchased versus 4.02 million in puts. So a little bit more evenly divided. The last several days, there was a overwhelming amount of calls being purchased. So in comparison to the last couple of days, there's a little bit more bearishness. So kind of mirroring what shorts are thinking, that it's overdone today, potentially. And looking at some of the call options that was purchased, it is anticipated for it to be above and stay above $5 by tomorrow. And if that is the case, there is going to be a nice gamma squeeze that potentially does happen, because there's 59,000 in open interest at that $5 strike price. So assuming Lucid does close above $5 tomorrow, market makers are going to have to buy a ton of Lucid shares. So that'll give it a nice bump up on Monday. So once again, that's a fairly good thing. And this is where a lot of people like to say that gamma squeezes lead into short squeezes, because just throwing this out there as a hypothetical, if Lucid does close above $5, market makers have to cover all of that, and then there's still a positive momentum going into next week. Well, shorts are already overextended. So you never know, something very positive could happen. On the technicals though, with it closing at $5.14, oddly enough, it was outside the R3. After hours is pulling back into this R2 to R3 range, but Lucid went parabolic. It went past all the resistance levels. So 513 is a point to watch for. So I wouldn't really consider it broken right now. So tomorrow we'll have to see if it gets dragged back into this R2 to R3, where 491 is going to be that next strong support, and then 513 would play as resistance, or if it continues the momentum up. Aside from this though, around 540 and then 560 are some really key points to watch for, aside from this 513. So who knows, it could go very high, or it might retrace back. Based on the technicals though, looking at stochastic, it is at 64, so a little bit overbought somewhat. There is a undertone of a bear sentiment right now, so red line above the black. So once again, that might play into tomorrow. Number of retail investors were getting in like crazy today, which is a very weird circumstance that you get both retail and institutions buying like crazy. So who knows, definitely a lot of good things could come out from all of this. It is higher percentile of the Bollinger Band. As of right now though, it did break outside and stayed there. Typically 9 times out of 10, if a stock does break outside of that band, I'll just kind of zoom out and show you, 9 times out of 10, if a stock does break out of that without a justified reason, usually you get a pullback, such as this kind of scenario. So obviously I don't know the reason why it went up this high, but it got dragged back down. Similar could happen potentially tomorrow, happened also on December the 8th right here. So who knows exactly what will happen. No doubtably there is going to be some profit taking that does happen tomorrow, but is it enough to take it below this 491? I don't really think so, especially Lucid has been laying down a very good foundation for a lot of good things to happen. And plus, like I mentioned, the Elliott wave is pointing to $5.60, kind of within that range in the short term. So Elliott wave, oddly enough, a lot of people like that technicals, and that has been on point. So who knows? Let me know your thoughts on all of that. And actually, I'll just quickly show you that while I'm on here. So through Interactive Brokers, you can kind of see all this information. Click on the link in the description below, or also the comments as well. You can have access to all this. So it does say in the short term between 563 and 593. And this has been saying that since it was around like $4.15, give or take. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Did you sell? What did you do with Lucid? And one final thing I just want to share with you, take advantage of this promo. Sign up for an account with Moonwood, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Link in the description below and also the comments. And my apologies for my raspy voice. I'm a little bit sick, as you can tell. So my apologies for that. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.